My mom sobbed uncontrollably at my sister's graduation, clutching flowers, snapping pictures, telling everyone how proud she was. At mine. She scrolled through her phone, didn't even look up. I stood on stage, diploma in hand, while my heart shattered in silence. For years I brushed off the favoritism, the missed birthdays, the quiet dinners. But that moment, it broke something I'd been holding together for too long. I started to wonder, was I really her daughter? Or just a shadow she tolerated? If you've ever felt invisible in your own family. What I discovered next might just haunt you too. The applause roared through the auditorium, but it felt distant, almost muted, like I was watching it from underwater. My heels tapped against the stage as I walked toward the dean's outstretched hand, a forced smile stretching across my face. I glanced toward the crowd, searching for her. My mother. Front row, aisle seat, just like we planned. Her head was down, thumbs scrolling. Again. She didn't even glance up. For 4 years I pictured this exact moment, standing here, cap slightly crooked, heart pounding, knowing she'd look at me with pride. Maybe even tears. Instead, the screen's glow reflected off her glasses as her fingers danced, completely detached from mine. I swallowed the knot in my throat. Smile wider. Cameras are watching. You did it. Doesn't matter if she sees. But it did. God, it did. I returned to my seat, gripping my diploma so tightly the edge dug into my palm. When my sister graduated 2 years ago, my mom brought roses. She wept, mascara running, whispering, "You make me so proud, sweetheart." The family took her out for steak after, toasted her with champagne. Mom posted on Facebook. 74 likes. Mine? A text at 8 a.m. Good luck today. That was it. You ever feel like you're starring in a movie no one's watching? I excused myself halfway through the ceremony, ducking into the women's restroom. My gown brushed the tiled floor as I stood in front of the mirror, holding the diploma like it meant something. My reflection looked hollow, eyes tired, smile absent, just a girl in a cap and gown, with no one cheering loud enough to matter. The stall door creaked behind me. I stayed still, waited. When the girl left, I took out my phone, opened the photo from the ceremony, cropped it, posted it with a caption. We did it. No mention of my mother, not a tag, not a heart emoji, just the barest truth I could admit in public. No one knew what I really felt. Invisible. Later that night I sat on my bed, still in the gown, and stared at the photo again. Her face in the background, lit up by her phone screen, caught mid-scroll. Maybe I wasn't enough, or maybe I was never meant to be hers. That thought crept in like a shadow I couldn't shake. It wasn't the first time. Sophomore year of high school, I overheard her on the phone with my aunt. "Emma's different," she'd said, voice low, almost guilty. "She's just never been like Claire. I try, but it's hard." Try? I remembered folding her laundry every Saturday since middle school. I remembered staying home on weekends to help her after her surgery. I remembered winning second place in the state science fair and getting a distracted "good job, hun," while she looked for Claire's dance shoes. Different, not difficult, just different. That's when I started documenting it. My invisible journal, I called it. A list of every moment she forgot me. No happy birthday post. No check-in when I was sick. The way she bragged about Claire's college essays but never read mine. Each entry a pinprick, but the journal grew thick. Still, I clung to hope. Maybe she just didn't realize. Maybe one day, she'd see me clearly. And then, during finals week, senior year, my best friend Rachel and I were doom-scrolling TikTok in the library. A girl on screen cried while reading a DNA test. Her dad wasn't her dad. We laughed. I said, "Imagine." Rachel didn't laugh. She looked at me. "You ever wonder? You and Claire don't even look related." I rolled my eyes. "Please, I've got Mom's nose. Claire's blonde, blue-eyed, 5'10". You're not." She grinned, then added, "Let's do it for fun." I shrugged. "Sure." I ordered the kit half-jokingly. It arrived 2 weeks later. I spit in the tube and mailed it back, still giggling at the absurdity. Rachel and I even made a bet. If I was adopted, she'd buy me dinner. If not, I'd owe her boba for a week. 3 weeks passed. I nearly forgot about it. Then I got the email. "Your DNA results are ready." Heart racing, I clicked, waited. The loading bar crawled like molasses. Then, results. And in one bright red line, no biological relation to listed maternal sample. Silence. I stared, blinked, read it again. My hands trembled. No relation. I felt the room tilt, a sharp inhale. The air thickened. I wanted to scream, to laugh, to smash something, to rewind time. Instead, I whispered, "She's not my mom?" My mouth dried, pulse roaring. What else hadn't they told me? What was I supposed to do now? I sat frozen in my dorm room, the laptop screen still glowing, casting shadows on the wall. My brain felt numb, like someone had pressed pause on the world and left me behind. No biological relation, not a glitch, not a maybe, just a cold, clinical truth. She wasn't my mother. I grabbed the old photo album from under my bed, the one with the cracked spine and family stitched in gold. Page after page, there she was, smiling beside me at birthday parties, holding me as a baby, first day of kindergarten. But none of it made sense now. It felt staged, performed, like props in a play I didn't know I was acting in. I texted Rachel. "You were right." Then I added, "She's not my mum." She called within seconds. I didn't pick up. Later that night, when the rain started, I walked outside in slippers and let it hit me. Soft at first, then soaking. I stood there in the courtyard, arms limp at my sides, mascara dripping into my mouth, until my skin prickled and my shoes filled with water. I didn't cry because I was sad. I cried because I felt erased, like I'd never really existed. At least, not in the way I thought I had. When I finally went home that weekend, I expected the world to tilt, but it didn't. The house looked the same. Claire was there, sprawled on the couch. Mom was in the kitchen, humming. No one acted like everything I knew about my life had just imploded. I sat at the table while she served spaghetti. She laughed at something Claire said. I stared at her hands. The same ones that brushed my hair before school. The same hands that never clapped at my concerts. "You're quiet," she said. "Everything okay?" I nodded. "Are you mad at me?" she asked, tilting her head. I shook my head. She studied me. "You're looking at me weird." I wanted to scream. "I know you're not my mom." I wanted to throw the DNA results in her face, demand to know why no one told me. But I didn't. I just took a bite of spaghetti and looked away. The silence became my armor. That night, I opened a new TikTok account. Anonymous? No face. Just text on a black screen. I posted a 30-second video. POV, you find out the woman who raised you isn't your biological mom, and no one thought to tell you. The audio. A soft piano loop. The text faded in and out. No details. No names. I thought maybe 5 people would see it. The next morning it had 200K views. By afternoon, 500,000. Comments flooded in. "This happened to me too. I'm so sorry. I'm crying for you. You're not alone. You should confront her." Then came the DM. From a woman with a private profile. Her message read, "I knew your father. I think we should talk." At first, I assumed she was a troll, but something in my gut said otherwise. I clicked on her profile. 1 follower, no posts, no mutual friends. But her name sparked something faint, familiar. I searched through old emails from when I was little, school fundraisers, birthday RSVPs, and there it was. Her name, Lisa C. She'd RSVP'd to my 4th birthday party. Bringing 1 guest. I messaged back, "Who are you?" She replied instantly, "I was your dad's girlfriend before he married your mom. He and I stayed close for a long time. There's something you need to know. Can we meet?" I stared at the screen, heart pounding. That night, I read every single comment on my video. Hundreds of strangers poured out their pain, their versions of feeling forgotten, unseen, misplaced. I wasn't special. That should have made me feel worse. But strangely, it didn't. It made me feel less alone. Still, one comment stuck in my mind like a splinter. What if she didn't tell you because she never wanted you to find out? I met Lisa 2 days later, in a coffee shop 2 towns away. She was older now, lines around her mouth, soft eyes, a nervous energy. She wore a yellow scarf that clashed with everything else she had on. "I'm sorry for reaching out like that," she said, stirring her tea. "I saw the video. I knew it had to be you." I stayed quiet. She looked down. "Your father. He loved you, you know. Even if everything else got messy." "What do you mean?" Lisa hesitated. "You were born from someone else, before your dad met Claire's mom. But he fought to raise you. When he got married, he made her promise she'd love you like her own." "Did she?" I asked. She didn't answer. "And my dad? He died in a car crash, right?" Lisa's face shifted. She looked down, then back at me. "Emma, that wasn't an accident." Lisa slid a faded envelope across the table. My name was written in my father's handwriting, slightly slanted with a looping E, like he always did when he signed my birthday cards. I hadn't seen that handwriting in over a decade. My fingers hovered above the paper, trembling. "He wrote this before he passed," Lisa said quietly. "He gave it to me because he wasn't sure if your mother would let you read it." I opened it right there in the coffee shop. The paper crackled like old leaves. His words felt alive like his voice whispering straight to my heart. "My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, I'm no longer with you. I hope I've given you enough love to carry. But if I didn't, if I failed you in any way, I need you to know the truth now." My eyes blurred. I blinked the tears back, focusing. "You were born out of love, even if the timing wasn't perfect. When I met your mother, the woman who raised you, I begged her to raise you as her own. I thought she would. I thought I was building us a family, but I saw the way she looked at you sometimes, the way she didn't." A tear slid down my cheek. "I wrote a will before the surgery. Everything I have, every account, every property, every cent, was meant for you. Not because I love you more than Claire, but because I wanted you to know that you belonged, that you were never less." I paused, the room spinning around me. Lisa reached over, placing a hand on mine. "He tried, Emma. He really did." I finished reading. "If this letter never reached you, then maybe someone didn't want you to know. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you longer, but you have every right to fight for what's yours. And one day, I hope you'll understand why your mother became who she is." I folded the letter, hands numb. That night I sat alone in my dorm, with only a candle burning. The lights were off, the windows open. The letter lay in front of me like an anchor and a buoy, all at once. It weighed me down and lifted me up. He'd loved me. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not loudly, but deeply enough to leave a legacy. When I finally turned my laptop back on, I started digging. Property records, probate filings. I needed proof. And I found it, buried in public records. My father's original will was filed the month before he died. It named me as sole heir. But 3 months after his death, a revised version appeared. One naming Claire. 2 witnesses. Same lawyer. But the signatures, they didn't match. My chest tightened. I printed everything, cross-referenced signatures, compared them to old documents I'd signed with him. They weren't his. Someone had forged them, and there was only one person who would have had access to everything after he died. My mother. She didn't just hide his love, she erased it. I drove home the next morning, parked a block away, and walked the rest. The house looked smaller now. I slipped inside while they were out. The study hadn't changed. Still smelled like his cologne. I went straight to the file cabinet, found the folder labeled Will and Estate. Everything was in Claire's name, every deed, every account, signed, stamped, lied. I didn't take anything, just scanned the documents into my phone. Then I saw something new, a small unmarked envelope tucked between folders. I opened it. Inside was a photo, a baby in a hospital blanket, not me. The name on the ID tag read, Lily Morgan, 1012 Ruavero. The date, the name, the weight. And then, on the back, scrawled in pen, My daughter, my angel, I'll love you always. I wasn't the baby in the photo, but I think she was. I left without a word, drove to the city library, spent hours in the archives, and there, on page 5 of the local paper dated October 13th, 2000, I found the headline, Infant dies following delivery complications. Mother in recovery. Her name, Meredith Morgan. My mother. She'd had a baby, a girl, and lost her. She'd lost her Lily. The puzzle pieces clicked together, painfully. She didn't adopt me out of love. She adopted me to fill the silence Lily left behind. I wasn't her daughter. I was her placeholder. It explained everything. Why she flinched when I cried. Why she overpraised Claire. Why she could never say, I love you, without hesitation. Because she wasn't looking at me. She was seeing the girl who never got to grow up. I sat on the library floor, the article crumpling in my hand. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I wasn't mad. I was done. That night, I packed my things. Every last photo, every letter, every piece of myself she'd overlooked. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Mom, I know now. Everything. I forgive you. For not seeing me. For trying to make me someone else. For loving a ghost more than a girl. But I have to go find the girl I am. Emma. The city smelled like opportunity and burnt espresso. I found a room above a bakery, the kind with old floorboards that creaked no matter how softly you walked. My window overlooked an alley, but in the morning, the scent of fresh bread drifted up and made everything feel warm. I took a job at a corner coffee shop, tiny, underlit, always playing the same indie playlist. I liked it. No one knew me. I made lattes with perfect foam and learned the regulars' orders before they opened their mouths. My manager didn't ask about my past, just showed me where the aprons were. At night, I wrote. Not letters, not journal entries, stories. Fiction at first. A girl raised by wolves. A woman who wakes up and doesn't recognize her own reflection. A daughter who's invisible. Until she stops trying to be seen. One of my writing class professors, an older woman with ink-stained fingers and a voice like velvet, read my short story aloud one evening. She didn't know it was about me. Afterward, she asked me to stay behind. You've got something raw, she said. Have you ever considered sharing this beyond these walls? I shrugged. It's just a story. She smiled. The best ones always are. A month later, I was invited to speak at a local workshop. Voices unheard. I nearly didn't go, but I stood in front of a dozen strangers and read my words. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. When I finished, no one clapped. They just sat there, breathing with me. Afterward, a woman in a green coat approached. She held a business card. "I'm with Brightwave Publishing," she said. "We'd love to talk." At first, I thought it was a joke. Then I saw the email, then the contract. They wanted to publish my story, unedited, raw, exactly as I wrote it. I signed it. On release day, I sat in the back corner of the public library, watching a teenage girl pick it up from the shelf. She read the first line, then didn't put it down. Across the room, no one stared. No one judged. For once, I didn't shrink under the weight of being seen. I walked home under a soft drizzle, coat open, face bare. That night, my phone buzzed nonstop. DMs, reviews, even a message from my old literature teacher in high school. "Proud of you." Then, the kicker. Claire texted me. Mom saw the interview. She didn't say much, just stared at the screen, then went silent. I didn't reply. I didn't know how. 2 weeks later, it happened. I was behind the counter at the cafe, mid-shift, when the bell above the door jingled. I looked up. She was there. My mother, no, Meredith, stood at the threshold. Same coat, same distant eyes, but older, more fragile. Her hands clutched a worn leather book. She didn't order anything, just waited until the line thinned, then walked up. "I'm not here to fight," she said. I nodded slowly. "Okay." She extended the book. "It's my journal. I don't expect you to read it, but I needed to give it to you." I took it. Her fingers brushed mine, cold. We didn't cry. We didn't hug. She just turned and walked out. The door jingled once more, and then she was gone. That night, I opened the journal. The first entry was dated 2 weeks after my father died. I thought I could love her. I really did. But every time I look at her, I see Lily's eyes. It's not her fault, but it still hurts. I kept reading, entry after entry, confessions, regrets. She'd tried, failed, blamed herself, blamed me, tried again. Then one entry, dated the week after my 3rd birthday. "They asked us to do a medical screening, just routine. The blood types didn't match. They told me what I already knew deep down. She wasn't mine, not by blood." So she knew, since then, and still raised me, but not like a daughter, like a reminder. I closed the book, chest tight. I wasn't angry. Not entirely. Mostly, I felt hollow, like someone had finally told me the truth, and it didn't set me free. It just changed the cage. Still, something shifted in me. She gave me the journal. That meant something. Maybe not enough, but something. The next time I stood in front of an audience, this time at a larger event, hundreds of seats, I changed the closing line of my speech. "We're not just who raised us. We're who we choose to become." Then I paused and added, "Sometimes family isn't blood, it's truth, and the courage to face it." After the event, I sent her an invitation, handwritten. "To Meredith, I'm speaking again next month. Theme, family is what you make it. If you'd like to come, I'll leave a seat open." I sealed the envelope. No return address. But I hoped she'd come. The stage lights warmed my face, but my hands were cold. I stood in front of 100 strangers, each holding a program that bore my name in bold print. Emma Morgan, guest speaker. The theme that night was healing through story. I didn't bring a speech, just a story. Mine. I started from the end, because that's where most people begin healing. I told them about the moment I packed my bags and left the only house I'd ever known. About the envelope, the DNA, the baby that wasn't me, the mother who never truly called me hers. I told them how it felt to carry someone's grief without permission, to be mistaken for someone you could never replace. I paused often, not for effect, but to keep my voice from cracking. I used to believe love had to be earned, I said, that if I did everything right, she'd look at me the way she looked at my sister. I tried. God, I tried. The room held its breath with me, but at some point I stopped asking, why doesn't she love me? And started asking, do I love myself enough to walk away? There were tears in the front row. Someone sniffled. I looked to the left, second row from the back, where I'd left an empty seat. It wasn't empty. She was there. My mother, Meredith, sat perfectly still, hands clasped in her lap, eyes glistening. I didn't pause. I didn't falter. Afterward, as the crowd dispersed, she approached slowly. I don't know what to say, she murmured. You don't have to say anything, I replied. Her hand reached out, tentative, trembling, and took mine. For the first time since I was 10, she held it. We stood there like that. No speech, no apology, just a gesture. A question formed in my throat, one that had lived there for years. I almost swallowed it, but I didn't. Did you ever... I hesitated. Were you ever proud of me? Her eyes welled. She nodded once, sharp, as if the weight of the truth cracked her open. That was enough. I didn't need more. Because for the first time in my life I felt whole, without needing someone else to fill the cracks. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I poured tea and sat at the window. The city buzzed quietly below, and I wrote in my journal, she doesn't have to love me the way I wanted. I love myself enough to survive that truth. The next month, I launched the Invisible Kids Fund, a scholarship program for students who had grown up feeling like ghosts in their own homes. The first batch of applications broke me. Stories of abandonment, neglect, silence. Names I didn't know, but pain I recognized instantly. Among the letters, one stood out. It was handwritten on lined notebook paper, the edges frayed, the ink smeared. Dear Emma, I watched your interview by accident. My foster mom left it playing on the TV. At first, I just thought you were another lady with a sad story. But then you said something. You said being unloved doesn't make you unlovable. That line made me stop everything. I'm 15. I've tried to not be here anymore. Twice. But after hearing you, I started writing again. I started painting. I think maybe I'm not broken. Maybe I'm just bruised. Thank you, you're the reason I stayed. Her name was Ava. I cried the entire night. Then I searched her name. Found her school. Called the counselor. A month later, I met Ava in person. She wore a hoodie 2 sizes too big and refused to look me in the eye. But when she finally did, I saw myself. 12, angry, quiet, searching. You don't have to say anything, I said. But she did. You're the first person who ever made me feel seen. She didn't hug me at first. She just sat beside me. But when I stood to leave, she threw her arms around my waist and didn't let go. I held her like I was holding something fragile and familiar. I held her like I was holding the little girl I used to be. That night, I wrote a letter, not for Ava, but for myself. To the girl who always stood behind her sister in family photos. To the girl who stopped asking questions because answers hurt too much. To the girl who carried guilt that didn't belong to her. You are not invisible. You are not a replacement. You are real. You are loved. And you're going to be okay. The room was massive. Rows upon rows of white chairs, a polished stage, and banners with bold lettering that read, "Family is a choice." I stood behind the curtain, heartbeat in my ears, clutching the note cards I probably wouldn't use. My hands were steady, but my chest fluttered, not with fear. Something else. Anticipation. When the curtain rose, the spotlight found me. I squinted but didn't flinch. I took a breath, and I began. "We don't get to choose where we're born," I said, "or who shares our DNA, but we do get to choose who we become, and who we carry with us." A pause. Then silence. The good kind. The listening kind. I continued, voice growing more sure. "I used to believe family was defined by blood, by Sunday dinners, holiday cards, matching eyes. But the truth is, family is who shows up, who sees you when you're invisible, who hears you even when you're silent." I scanned the crowd, a sea of eyes and stillness. "In this room," I said, "are people who've hurt me, people who've saved me, people I never expected to love again. And all of them are here because I no longer need to be angry. I've let go, not because they earned it, but because I found peace inside myself." In the third row, Meredith sat between Claire and Lisa. 3 women from different corners of my life. 3 women tied to my pain, my origin, my unraveling. And yet, here they were. I closed the speech with a line I'd carried for years. "I am not who they raised. I am who I chose to be." Applause erupted. Some people stood. I didn't expect that. I didn't know what to do with it. So I smiled and stepped back. The event ended with a panel discussion. People lingered, some approaching me with books to sign, others just to whisper, "Thank you." But the moment that will stay with me came, as the crowd thinned. Meredith stood, cleared her throat. "I'd like to say something," she announced, voice shaking but loud enough to carry. The remaining attendees turned. I froze. She walked to the center of the stage, her heels clicking in the hush. She turned to the audience, then back to me. "This is my daughter," she said. "I didn't give birth to her. I didn't always understand her. But I see her now, and I want everyone else to see her too." The tears came fast, not because I needed her to say it, but because it had taken her this long. And yet, she did. I stepped forward. We didn't hug. We didn't need to. I put my hand on her shoulder, and she nodded. It was enough. Months passed. My inbox overflowed. Invitations to speak, collaborate, write. But one project clung to me like breath on glass. I began writing again. Not for healing this time. For legacy. The book was called Bloodless Bonds. It wasn't about revenge or grief. It was about survival. Reinvention. Choosing to stay when leaving felt easier. Choosing to speak when silence felt safer. Each chapter was a portrait. Of Ava, of Lisa, of Meredith, of myself. When the book launched, universities picked it up for courses on emotional resilience and trauma recovery. Students sent letters. Professors asked me to guest lecture. I found myself on stages I'd never imagined. And then, one day, as I wrapped up a session at a university on the coast, a familiar figure waited outside the auditorium. Ava, now 18, taller, hair dyed purple, her eyes brighter, posture stronger. "I made it," she said, shy grin tugging at her lips. "I knew you would." She'd been accepted to that university on full scholarship, half funded by the Invisible Kids Initiative, the rest by her own grit. We sat on a bench in the quad, watching freshmen stumble past with oversized backpacks and wide eyes. "Remember when you said I'd be okay?" she asked. I nodded. "I think I finally believe you." I squeezed her hand. "You made yourself okay." A breeze picked up. Leaves danced around our feet. She reached into her bag and pulled out something wrapped in ribbon. A gift. I opened it. Inside was a photo of the 2 of us, taken months ago at a bookstore. She'd captioned it in marker, family. That night, back in my hotel room, I wrote one more letter. It wasn't meant to be read. It was meant to be written. To the woman who brought me into this world, I don't know your name. I don't know your story. I don't know why you left or if you were ever given a choice. For years I wondered about you, hated you, missed you without knowing you. But now, I think I'm okay not knowing. Because the truth is, I've had mothers in many forms. Some who broke me, some who built me. And I became someone strong anyway. Wherever you are, I hope you're well. I forgive you. Not because you asked me to, but because I need to let go. I folded the letter and sealed it in a plain envelope. No address. No stamp. The next morning I walked to a quiet little bridge that overlooked the river. I slipped the letter into a wooden drop box labeled, "Letters Never Sent." And then I walked away. No music swelled, no birds flew. Just me, breathing, lighter than I'd ever felt.